I'm a firm believer that gardening does not need to be complicated, so let me show you the simple way that I grow our potatoes. Welcome y'all, my name's Loanna, and this is Little Bit of Homestead. So let's go in here and take a look at these beautiful plants. I planted these potatoes less than 4 weeks ago, and they're already looking great. This area is a deep mulched method, and it has been wood chips and leaves and straw for the last 3 years. It has been red clay soil is what we started with, and a lot of this crabgrass that I'm still fighting a little bit. But you wouldn't even have to dig. One thing I wanted to do was pick out a few little stragglers of this crabgrass, and then also show you how gorgeous this soil looks. No trace of red clay at all whatsoever in just less than 3 years. So you could just lay these on top of the soil and cover them like I'm going to show you, but it's so easy. I just loosened up the soil a little and placed them about a foot apart. Look at that. It's gorgeous. Then we're just going to get these little potatoes covered up, rake some of this loose soil up over them, and then I'm going to just rake back onto them the leaf mulch that had been on this ground all winter and get it covered back up. And then as any of the leaves start poking through, I'm going to come back in and add some hay all around it, because you don't want the potatoes to start forming and be exposed to the light. So we're just going to cover everything up with a little more hay. Now I am trying to beat the rain. Like I said, these are not indeterminate potatoes. However, on the potatoes, if the sun hits them, they will turn green, and that's not edible. So what I'm doing here is just make sure that any potatoes that start to develop are not exposed to the sun. And we'll just keep an eye on this as it grows, and if we need to add some more hay later on, we'll just tuck some up around here like we did here. And we've got some strawberries peeking through the fence. But I've also just randomly stuck some potatoes at the base of both of these trellises that can just grow along until they're ready to harvest amongst everything else. And you can see on that back row is the first batch of potatoes I've planted, and I will be interplanting some bush beans, and I'll probably put some pole beans to grow up on that fence as well. Just like tomatoes, potatoes are either determinate or indeterminate. I grow determinate potatoes, and that means that they grow for a determined amount of time, and that's the amount of potatoes you get during that time period, and that's it. Indeterminate potatoes will keep growing, and you just keep covering the stem up with soil or straw or hay, and it will keep growing and producing up that stem as long as you keep covering it up. Now in this bed, I will be planting some peppers and some onions. So down the middle of it, I decided to just pop in some of these potatoes. And this bed is also a no-till deep mulch bed, and you can see that the soil in it is gorgeous, full of wormies. And I'm not placing them very deep at all. I'm just moving a little soil back. Then I'm just going to cover them back up with the hay. And this is just about 2.5 weeks later, and you can see I've already got my pepper plants in, and I have some onions in, and they are happy. This is the newest area of our garden that we started from scratch back at the end of December, so less than 5 months ago.
it looked like this.
Actually, this was from February. I lost all the footage I had from when we came and laid down the cardboard and brought all the hay in. But this was just about 4 weeks ago, and we will pull some of those weeds and we will cover this up with some more hay, and we were going to plant the potatoes on each end here at the edges and then come in with some winter squash for the rest of the garden. So I wanted to just take a look here and pull this cardboard back and get a good look at this soil. All of the grass that was under here has decomposed and fed the soil, and we have lots of worms. So that's wonderful. So I'm just going to pull the cardboard back down on this end and cover the potatoes up with a little bit of the hay. I'm just pulling the cardboard back, not really digging, just kind of loosening up that cardboard. Probably not necessary, but that's what I did. This, I believe, is a Kennebec potato, and then on the end I have a purple potato. This is a seed potato, and that is what you do when you plant potatoes. You let them sprout, and then you just place them in the ground or under the straw. Now this is going to be some red potatoes, and I am not even going to pierce the cardboard here. I'm just going to lay them down, cover them up. When you are sourcing any of your straw or hay, you need to make sure that it is clean. That means it's not been sprayed with any herbicides or pesticides. And here they are in just less than 2 weeks. And I'm going to come in and put the hay a little thicker on them. Let them do their thing. Determinate potatoes take about 60 to 90 days to mature. So midsummer, we'll be enjoying some potatoes.
As the potatoes continue to grow, I'll just keep an eye on it. And if I start to see that the hay is settled any, I'll just keep adding more straw or hay, whatever I have, and keep those potatoes good and covered and keep them from being exposed to the sun. Like I said earlier, I'm a firm believer that gardening should be simple and inexpensive, so keep an eye out. Very, very soon, I have a full video on how we deep mulch garden, and I thank you all for hanging out with me. My name's Loanna, and this is Little Bit of Homestead.